Discover your inner goddess and live up to your highest value and most abundant potential. Welcome to Grateful Goddesses, a podcast that empowers you to unleash your inner goddess and take the leap of faith to live your best life. Your guide, Karen Pulver, joins her fellow goddesses in soulful conversations about gratitude, personal growth, authentic living, and a bevy of topics affecting women today. Let's start the show with your host, Karen Pulver.
Welcome, everybody. Hello, featured goddesses. I wanted to ask you about your experience with CBD. So think about, have you tried it? Have you used it in lotions? Have you had it in any type of drinks or anything? So we're going to go around and talk about it. So how about Dina? Can you start?
I have very little, next to no experience with it. I have tried a lotion for like a muscle ache, but one time, and that was that.
Did you see a difference?
But I've gotten it for my dog too. I've gotten dog treats.
And did you see a difference? Did you see an effect at all on yourself or your dog?
I used it one time, and I don't have like chronic muscle stuff, so my husband has much more experience. He uses it. He likes it. So it's definitely
it's been effective
in our world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about Rachel? Have you had any experience with CBD products?
I have. I used a tincture for a period of time, and I struggle with like a lack of energy. I feel like I could take a nap all of the time. And so I know a lot of people says it calms them down, but like I'm looking for something to amp me up. And I didn't get that sensation. And so I stopped taking it. So
I struggle with muscle aches and pains all the time. I tried a CBD lotion that a friend said, here, try this. I was having such terrible pain in my knee. And I only tried it the one time, but since then, that was a couple years ago, my aches and pains are multiplying. So lately it's been sort of neck and back stuff. And I really do intend to try kind of the latest and greatest CBD lotions that are on the market and see if that helps, because I'll try anything.
And for me, when CBD came out and then there were stores popping up everywhere, I was like just stuck with, what do I do? Which one should I go to? Does it really work? So actually where I get my coffee, they had CBD shots to put into your coffee, and it jacked up the price of my latte $5. But so I was getting, $15 lattes, and it was ridiculous. But I was also wondering too about the effect of having an upper, like a coffee, and then the CBD, which is supposed to be calming. And I was just kind of wondering if it kind of balances it out. I have so many questions about that. But did I feel a difference? I'm not sure if it was a placebo effect or if I truly did feel it. I obviously not right away, but as I had it for, about 2 months until I realized this is just way too much money to spend on my coffee. I saw a difference when I stopped. I saw kind of a difference of, well, I guess I felt a little calmer, but I am curious about the effect of having it in something, in your coffee or in something that would be more of a boost of energy type of thing. And so we're going to explore that today on Grateful Goddesses. We're going to explore the CBD, the benefits, exactly what it is. We're going to talk more about it because really we see all these stores, we see all these products, and we just really want to hear from someone who can really help us with that. And today's guest is Joelle Rabion. She is an integrative health and wellness consultant. She's providing individuals and groups the tools they need to feel great in their bodies every day, nutrition-based holistic approach impacting all areas of a person's life that affect wellness and personal growth. She's the co-author of a book, Good Food, Better Life. She's also an entrepreneur. She's a culinary nutritionist, holistic wellness consultant, certified through Columbia University and the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, New York, 2007. She's a member of the American Association of Drugless Practitioners, an avid yoga practitioner. Now, I met Joelle. She actually, 10 years ago, hosted 2 Grateful Goddess events. One was a nutrition-based one, and one was yoga. And she came to my house to clean out my pantry, which was eye-opening because I did not realize that I had products in there that I was feeding myself and my children that actually were not good for them. Her specialties obviously include nutrition and dietary counseling and wellness, including self-care, meditation, yoga. Her clients discover ways to take charge of their high blood pressure, high cholesterol, manage their weight issues, IBS, macular degeneration, diabetes, depression, and malaise. Flow is a venture that she is now a part of. It offers a unique all-natural hemp beverage and other unusual delivery systems to provide a calming relief for the body and mind. It's called Flow Foods, which is a new venture that Joelle is a part of, actually not so new, since 2016. So we'd like to welcome Joelle to Grateful Goddesses to help us discover more about CBD and its benefits.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to meet with you guys.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited for you to teach us about all the things, all the benefits and health, benefits for CBD, but we don't understand it. Can you, first of all, tell us about your journey? Because it's been about 10 years since I saw you and since you hosted those events. And what have you been doing in those 10 years?
So I continued to counsel people in Chicago on their health and wellness issues, writing the little Good Food, Better Life book with my partner at the time, Martin. It's called A Purposeful Guide to Health and Wellness, and it's a cute little book. Ultimately, I wound up working with kind of a segment of high achieving women who, were mothers and attorneys and just had so much going on in their lives. They had a really hard time negotiating their nutrition and just finding a way to keep their energy levels steady and strong throughout the day because there were just so many demands on them. So we went through the whole nutrition program, including yoga and mindfulness and breath work, and all of that was super helpful. But ultimately, I wanted to be able to hand them something that they could take, when they're stuck in traffic, when their kid's having a meltdown, before they go into a big meeting, something they could drink and just immediately decompress and get their mind in a space where they can think clearly and function at their maximum. So I was traveling, I was in a plane on an international flight, and it's a really good space because nobody can interrupt you with phones or what have you. And I was reading this article about CBD, and it was just like the light bulb went off over my head. And so once I got back from the trip, I really started looking into it. And by now I had moved from Chicago. I wound up marrying a wonderful fellow who got recruited for a job outside of Washington and came with him here. So I didn't have a client base here. I mean, we could work remotely, but it was much harder to, recruit people. And everybody here seemed a little bit less interested, or, maybe they just had already achieved all of what they needed to achieve in terms of their nutrition. So I really started focusing on how I could create this product that I could literally hand to someone. And right away, I looked at what was out there, and I knew that I needed to create something unique because already at the time, even though it was in its infancy, it was already kind of a cluttered market and also very confusing. It's a product that's not easy to describe just because of the complexity of the cannabis plant. And this is one aspect of the plant that doesn't, most people associate cannabis with getting high, and CBD doesn't get you high. So there was a big learning curve to really understand how this molecule works the way it does and why. And I had to find it. And then I had to, the purpose of my being able to hand somebody to drink to feel better is so that they could feel better right away. And all of the products out there use the oil. And anytime you ingest oil, I knew from my nutrition background, it has to go through your digestive tract. So depending on whether you've eaten or not eaten, it's going to take a really long time to go through your body. And then you never really know how much you're absorbing, and you don't know when it's going to hit. So there are all these other factors that really come into play when somebody needs relief now. So I found a way to render it water soluble so that the body could immediately, it would be immediately bioavailable. So you could feel the effects of it really within 5 to 10 minutes. So that was the first thing that made my product unique. And I really wanted to make it all natural and just something really convenient that you could like put in your pocket. So I developed just a line. There are 4 of them. They just, they're all the same, but they just have slightly different flavors, and called it Flow, kind of go with the flow, but also a nod to Chick Sent Me High. And Holly Chick Sent Me High is this philosopher who kind of coined the notion of flow, when you get into that zone where you're just feeling your absolute best, like you're writing a paper, or you just feel like nothing can get in the way, and you sort of lose track of time because you're so engaged with what you're doing. And that's what I feel my product can do. So yeah, I wound up formulating it, and then the challenge was,
a lot of people do feel when they see CBD, especially when the stores first started popping up, that it was high related, THC related. And then when it is just isolating the CBD portion of it, people want it. And then I just hearing now about the oil, that's probably what was in my coffee, was oil.
sure.
And not, water soluble. So hearing that it actually works right away, we're all curious about how that works. So maybe even a little, this is great hearing this lesson, about cannabis and understanding the plant, because we were talking before and you were saying there's so many parts to the plant that are so important to look at, and so you honed in on one specific part. Am I correct?
Exactly. So it's my product is just the CBD, so it had to be isolated, extracted from the hemp plant and then isolated as one compound. The cannabis plant, as Karen said, is really complex, and it has over like 800 cannabinoids. CBD is one cannabinoid along with THC. My hemp comes from a hemp plant and not a cannabis plant. So hemp plants are grown industrially to make things, fiber and sails. And I mean, you can make combustible fuel and all kinds of things. You can make 25,000, it has 25,000 different uses, but under no circumstances would you ever get high. There is no psychoactive component in hemp. So yeah, I made sure that you can also get CBD from a cannabis plant, but I made sure that mine was from a hemp plant, so there was no ambiguity. And there is very rigorous testing. Anyone who's selling a legitimate product should have a place on the website that shows the certificate of authenticity, showing that they're—
I see, right, because we were wondering about that. Yeah, because it's like, who do we trust? What do we know? What products?
Exactly. And that's really what happened, because it was an unregulated market. This had never existed before. So the FDA was trying to get involved, and everyone was trying to get involved to start to regulate it. But the horse had already left the gate. And
right.
So all these products were out on the market. And I agree 100% with you. It's almost impossible to discern what's legit and what's not. I would say, because in Illinois now, you had the advantage of having a recreational cannabis market. So you can go into a legal dispensary, and you would only find legal products in the dispensary. So I would definitely direct you there. And then if you heard from somebody about a product, I would first research it. And like I said, look for its certificate of authenticity. And if they don't provide it, then that's already the first red flag. I think the most impressive and well-reputed product on the market is called Charlotte's Web. And it was created after the little girl, Charlotte Higgy, who unfortunately died recently, but it was the one product that allowed her to live seizure-free. So this was the original discovery around CBD, is that it really, really helps with epilepsy symptoms. And many, many, many people, children and adults alike, use it for, to keep their symptoms in check. But under a circumstance like that, it's crucial to get a very high quality one, because you're going to need a lot of it to really keep your body balanced.
So Rachel, you were asking about finding something that helps with energy, because you said you can sleep a lot. So
it's funny. I know like so many women are like high anxiety and they go, go, go. And I like long for almost like a little bit of that, because I just feel like I could lay down at any minute and take a nap. And it's funny when you were talking about like your nutrition, I'm like, gosh, I think I could use like your advice, like just on a lot of levels. But it sounds like how you're describing these shots, they sound amazing, that they just like balance you like wherever you need to be. Can you talk about that more? And like,
Yeah.
if someone is looking for more energy?
Yeah, I mean, balance is one thing and energy is another. So the way that the CBD molecule works in your body is that the phrase that is used is it creates homeostasis. So it's whatever is a little bit off, and it usually is things like stress and anxiety. And if you have inflammation, things like that, it will definitely calm those things. But CBD is not a product that's going to help with your energy. I mean, it might help sort of eliminate the brain fog and provide a little more clarity, but it's not going to give you an energy boost. But it's interesting you bring that up, and I'm not like tooting my horn, but part of my thing, there's a longer story attached to the flow shots, and I decided to make them more functional. So each, this one is a berry flavor, and this one is a green tea lemongrass. And this is a lemon citrus. So the lemon citrus is now becoming, I'm adding an isolated terpene, which is another part of the cannabis plant, for energy. So this one is going to be called Lemon Volt, and I'm just in the process of having it formulated right now. And it's going to bring you about 3 to 5 hours of like brain energy, like brain boost, and it's pretty cool.
And brain fog is, I would say, it's the brain fog that makes me tired. Like I just kind of like shut down, and I don't want to do all the things that I feel like I should be doing.
Okay.
So I
That's
feel
really
like
good.
it's, I work out almost every day. Like it's not like I'm a sedentary person. I just.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we can definitely talk. It might be more dietary to begin with. It might be something like gluten. Gluten can really get in the way of a lot of things, and brain fog is one of the number one symptoms of a gluten sensitivity.
Rachel, I can fall asleep too anywhere. My family makes fun of me because, anywhere I just have to put my head back, and they take pictures of me. I'm like this. There's tons of pictures of me everywhere, just falling asleep with my mouth open, drooling. So I love to take a nap too, which, I'm not sure how naps are effective. I always ask experts about napping. Some say not to, some say to, but that's so interesting. I would love to try that Bolt when you finally get it on the market.
Are the drinks safe for kids? Is it not recommended under a certain age?
Yeah, it's an entirely safe product. One of the things that was really challenging in bringing this to market was the fact that it comes from a cannabis plant. It just immediately comes into this whole other area where you have to hire attorneys and have a third-party payment processor and have all of these people involved because of the cannabis, even though there is nothing psychoactive in it, and it could never hurt anyone. It can only help you. But I have to say, on the website, already when you enter the website, it's only for adults. And I have to say, not for children or women who are pregnant or lactating, even though there's no evidence to show the contrary. It's just a legal thing that I must say. It would never hurt a child. It's perfectly fine for a child. I have to let you know right now that because I had never done something like this, I want to give you this quote from Pablo Picasso. I'm always doing that which I cannot do in order to learn how to do it. And that's sort of my life as an entrepreneur. I've sort of gone through my life that way. So because this was a first time effort, I wanted to put a best use by date on it. And because I was so passionate about this product, I'm like, everyone's going to buy it. I'm just going to put the date a year from today, even though it certainly is still active today, but because I stamped it with a date, I can't legally sell it anymore. So I have a whole bunch of this product that I can't sell because I put that date on it. And that's another reason why I'm reformulating it. So that was a good lesson to learn.
Is it available right now for people to order?
It's available through me. You can send me an email, but on my website, it just says sold out.
Do you recommend one a day, as much as you want.
Okay, so with CBD, you take it as needed. Like if you're somebody who's prone to anxiety attacks, or you're having a moment where you just can't pull it together and you just need to calm down right now, that's when you take it, because it acts right away. And same for pets. Like it's a very useful product. I know one of you mentioned that you had been giving it to your pet. I started making pet products because I know so many people in the area who are dog walkers and cat sitters and so forth. And, pets have a lot of emotional considerations too. A lot of them have separation anxiety or are super aggressive and what have you. And CBD is amazing for pets and really helps with, as they get older, arthritis and things like that, any kind of joint issues.
I love that quote, Joelle. It definitely is tapping into your inner goddess, right? which we talk about. So, some of the guests that we've met try things out. They're curious. They jump in. They try things. If it doesn't work, oh well, they'll try again. And it sounds like that's what you're doing, which is just incredible. Because okay, you're living and learning. You realized with the date that happened, and now you know what to do. We learn from our little glitches, and there's never a mistake. It's a happy accident, right? So
Sure.
I think the painter, you remember back in the 70s with the afro, what's his name, Bob Ross or Foss, or he used to do paintings, and he said, oh, it's a little happy accident. So
Oh yeah, I remember.
You remember him? Yeah,
Yeah.
like whenever, doing the little trees and the snow on the trees.
Yeah.
And oh, don't worry, friends, it's not a mistake.
Yeah. So earlier I was talking about, how I had tried a CBD product, but it was a topical application for, muscle aches and pains. And I know the product that you've created is you ingest this product. So I guess, is CBD more effective, topically, or does it not matter how you're using the product? And also, I guess as a follow-up, if you do have these aches and pains, and I walk into sort of on the corner there of my home, actually down the street, there's a CBD like shop. And let's say you're just sort of looking at all of the products on the shelves. How do you distinguish one from another? Let's say, you've got terrible back pain or arthritic, neck pain or whatever. How do you distinguish among these products and know not only in what form to take it, but, 5 different products? What am I looking for to know which would be most effective?
Yeah, those are really great questions. So there are 2 things. Topically is by law really the only way to sell CBD these days. That was another challenge for me, because the FDA decided once I got involved that ingesting it was illegal. They didn't have enough information on it to determine it's safe. You would never go into Whole Foods and find something like this, because you can put it on your skin, but you can't put it in your body. Obviously, when you put something in your body, you're going to feel the effects of it more right away. A topical is just literally that. It's going to sit on the top of your skin. It's going to penetrate the epidermis to a point, but it's not going to get into your bloodstream. So these topicals, you will find some relief from them, depending on how much CBD is in them, but they're not going to be a really deep relief, just because they're sort of just sitting on the surface of your skin, but not penetrating through the layers of the epidermis. So I'd look at the entire ingredient list. Some people like a eucalyptus-y type affect from a topical, like a Bengay type product that has that sensation as well. If you don't like that, you would probably look more for a lavender or something else that would be more appealing, not only to the nose, but also just in general. Lavender is a really soothing herb, and that could help put you in the space to receive, the benefits of something that's, meant to be helping with aches and pains. But yeah, definitely look at the full ingredient list, find out the order of the ingredients, because the number 1 ingredient, of course, is the one that's most prevalent. Right. And there needs to be quite a bit of CBD in a product like that in order for you to feel the effects of it.
How do you feel about it going along with other medications that someone might be on. If someone is on anxiety meds or depression meds, or like, is it an add-on to that, or do you feel like it could replace that?
It really depends. And this is an other area. That's why I said this is a very complicated molecule. If a person is using a blood thinner, for example, it's really best not to use CBD, because CBD is also going to thin the blood. There is another enzyme that it interferes with. So certain antidepressants have this enzyme, and there will be a conflict. So it's very specific to the type of medicine. So that would be like a Google item. Look into,
Right.
will CBD interfere with the absorption of X medication?
Got it.
Yeah.
And then what I'd mentioned before about adding it to coffee or stimulant, like something like that, I'm curious about that.
I was really intrigued that you brought that up, because I too started seeing people putting it in coffee, and I had the exact same response as you. I was like, why? It's like, don't you take it to calm yourself down? So why would you put it in your coffee? But I talked with people who used to regularly use it, and they say it takes the edge off coffee. So it's like, if you would over caffeinate and you get to that point where you're just feeling like jittery and you can't focus because you're over caffeinated, CBD will counter that.
Yes, that's interesting. That's what I felt when I stopped and I drank coffee. When I drink a lot of coffee, I talk fast. I find, and I wasn't talking as fast. Maybe, I don't know. That's interesting to know. Would take that edge off. That's interesting.
And then your point about the placebo effect too is really well taken. That's obviously with cannabis there is no placebo effect, because either you're high or you're not. Whereas with CBD, it is a nuance. Like, it's not something you feel like boom, like you would if you got high. It's a subtle feeling, and it's a clarity, and it's a calming. So the placebo effect is a real thing.
Well, does CBD have any positive or negative effect on your metabolism? I've seen some things like reported that it might be good to speed up your metabolism and therefore weight loss. And then I've seen other reports that say that's just not proven. Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, it hasn't been proven. I'm actually getting my master's in medical cannabis science and therapeutics. Yeah, so we've studied some of the molecules, and CBD is still one that's really challenging for scientists to understand, just the way that it operates in the body. It's not like a THC molecule where you can trace it and see exactly where it becomes psychoactive and why. The CBD molecule is still quite ambiguous. I mean, we all have an endocannabinoid system, and there are receptors all over our body, and some receive the CBD and others don't. And it's still not clear really what is proven. Definitely for seizures, it's a great medication, but beyond that, and inflammation, it's great for reducing inflammation, but beyond that, they can't say 100% for sure. It's still really early. All this stuff is in its infancy.
So if our listeners want to contact you and want to order from you now, how would they do that?
So you can just send me a note at info@flow-foods.com.
And that's FLO.
FLO-foods.com.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
So I know this was asked earlier, but I'm curious, like, I would love to try these bottles. And even if I'm not having, like, I would just love to see how my body responds. And like one a day, like what would you recommend if like?
Well, I'll definitely send you some. I still have clients who buy it regularly. I have clients in Chicago, Milwaukee, Texas, and locally who still use it. The fellow here who uses it is depressed, and he finds that it's the only thing that lifts his spirits. The person in Texas was coming off of chemotherapy, and she finds it very useful for all of her symptoms. My Chicago client uses it for malaise. he just gets into his space sometimes, and he has a big company, and just to get him back on track. And the Milwaukee girl, also super high achieving woman, just to combat her stress. So I send them big big orders every couple of months just so that they have it. I think one of my friends mixes it with a cocktail. There are many things you can do with it, but it's also great just on its own.
Like a lemon boost martini.
Exactly.
Do you still give nutrition counseling, Joelle, to people if they reach out to you, or are you just focused on flow right now?
Yeah, no, I will absolutely give nutrition counseling.
And pantry cleanups?
Virtual.
Yeah.
I remember you, I think I had Pop-Tarts, and you said, no. And you suggested a different snack for my kids. And it was like a whole grain bread toasted with peanut butter and some banana. And I started to make maybe a little cinnamon. And I started to make that after school for my kids. And it was really a life changer for them. But thank you so much for all that amazing information about CBD and nutrition. And now people can reach out to you, and we cannot wait to try your flow shots when they, come back out, or especially.
Yeah, and I absolutely want your feedback.
Oh, we'll give it. We would love to try it. And I will no longer put it in my coffee. Or maybe we'll see. I think I'll prefer to put it in a cocktail. I like the idea of a lemon boost martini, right? I think we should do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Up next, favorite things. Opening up to happiness and joy.
Welcome to Favorite Things with our guest, Joelle Rabion. We're going to go through and talk about things that make us feel joy, feel happy. It could be a product, an object, just anything that makes you feel joy. So Tina, how about you start?
So I brought one of my favorite candles. It's, again, we're talking about scents again. This is from Diptyque, which I've been a big fan of before the store came to my neighborhood. Now that the store's in my neighborhood, it's a big bonus. And this one is, I think, Bays scent, and they just make me happy, and they smell yummy, and I just love them. And they have mini ones that you can buy like in a set. I like to get those and give them as little gifts or little like housewarming. They're nice.
So Rachel, what is your favorite thing today?
So I am wearing this dress today. It's a Jonathan Logan dress. I love vintage dresses, and I just did my big switch in my closet from summer to winter. And when I saw you ladies the other night, it was actually the first time I've worn a dress in a long, long time. But I love these vintage clothes. Jonathan Logan, his dresses were in Mad Men. And my stylist and the owner of the vintage store that I love to shop at sent me something, and I'm just going to read it. Jonathan Logan was one of the largest ready-to-wear brands by the 1960s. They wore his pieces on Mad Men. His clothing was top-notch. He had 14 different brands. Bleecker Street Fashions, Butt Knit. He created the scooter dress, Shady Lane, with his maxi dress line. He used amazing colors and styles. I would compare his stuff to Marc Jacobs today. So I'm always giving a plug for vintage stuff. I think it's so much fun to hear the stories.
Love that.
Thanks.
Rachel has amazing vintage jewelry and dresses, and I'm learning, these are girls that I, we're getting to know each other, and I'm learning that about Rachel. She loves vintage.
So I am wearing today one of my favorite things. I don't know if I can, is that a good shot of it? This is this is Aquarius, and this is the constellation, and it's sort of like this hammered metal here on the back. It actually says Aquarius. I think that's showing well. So this is a designer who her name is Brooke Gregson. She's British, and I came across it while shopping, of course, for a gift for somebody else, and that's always when you're like, wind up shopping for yourself instead. But I'm not big into astrology, but I love some of the things it says about Aquarius and their traits. So I'm just going to read because I looked this up. Aquarius likes fun with friends, helping others, fighting for causes, intellectual conversation, and a good listener. Dislikes limitations, broken promises, being lonely, dull, or boring situations, people who disagree with them. So I definitely, I agree with most of that about me, not all of it, but there are so many aquarii in my family and my friend group that I really like being Aquarius. So this just sort of spoke to me, and not wearing a lot of jewelry these days with being at home most of the time, but I do love it.
What sign is your husband?
He's a Capricorn. We were actually born 3 weeks apart, so we celebrate our birthday somewhere at the midway point, and but he's on the other side of it. So he's Capricorn, I'm Aquarius.
Okay. So one of my favorite things is, well, I'm going to show you I like mugs, but okay. So talking about smells, unicorn farts, they don't smell bad. They actually smell great. And this is one of my favorite mugs because I really love rainbows. And in fact, here in Chicago, there was the most beautiful rainbow last night. This is a picture, and it was just spectacular. There was double, there's my video. It was a full arch, and I love rainbows. And, The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies, and the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow, because I just feel rainbows are happiness, they're joy. Look at how transformed the unicorn gas into beauty and sunshine. And teaching preschool too, a lot of these little kids, they're so embarrassed when that happens, but it's a natural part of our body. It helps us stay alive and well. And I just always say, oh no, it's okay, it's like a rainbow. So I'm sure they go home and they're telling their parents, oh Dad, that's a rainbow. Kind of funny. Those are rainbows.
It was a beautiful sky last night, by the way. The rainbow and that pink sky, and living downtown in a big city. It's so amazing when we can see stuff like that.
Joelle, what's your favorite thing?
Okay, so I understood the question in a more global perspective, and I've always had a hard time narrowing down. Like even as a child, I'd be like, "What's your favorite color?" And be like, "Blue." I mean, pink. I mean, yellow, red.
A rainbow.
Exactly, a rainbow. So I was just thinking that here's one of my bookshelves with lots of good books. That my curiosity is my favorite thing. It just never ends. And I've met some people who are uncurious, or I don't even know if that's a word. And I'm really fascinated by that, because I just don't understand how you could not always be asking questions about the world and about other people and about everything. But I'm extremely thankful for my curiosity.
No, there's a lot of people who are comfortable being like the fish in the fishbowl. And I was one of those people for sure for a very long time. And it is when you can kind of be that fish in the ocean that, it's scary, and you could be eaten by the shark, or, it's kind of more comfortable in the fishbowl. But I think curiosity, as we get older and we learn about how important it is to ask questions and not be afraid. And that's what we're learning on Grateful Goddesses and on this journey, is really to continue to be curious. A lot of our guests have expressed that that's something, a quality that they have. And we're learning just to continue with our curiosity to learn and to continue our journey. So thank you again for joining us, and thank you for spreading the word on CBD and its benefits, as well as your curiosity. So thank you again.
Thank you, and thank all of you. It's been a really fun experience, and I would really like to stay in touch with you all.
We will, for sure.
I agree. I'm so proud of you. I mean, my God, you found this whole thing for the first time. That's amazing.
It was just it was the first time in my life I was like a dog with a bone. there were so many challenges just to find a bowler to put it in those little bottles and to use glass and every step of the way. But it was just I was very driven, and there was no stopping it. So.
Unleashed your inner goddess yet? Thanks for joining us today on Grateful Goddesses. We invite you to visit our website, www.gratefulgoddesses.com, to access today's show notes as well as other helpful resources. Don't forget to leave a review. Until next time, stay strong and empowered to be a grateful goddess.